If I were again beginning my studies, I would follow the advice of Plato and start with mathematics. We must say that there are as many squares as there are numbers. The book of nature is written in the language of mathematics. What has philosophy got to do with measuring anything? It's the mathematicians you have to trust, and they measure the skies like we measure a field. Mathematics is the key and door to the sciences. Mathematics is the language with which God has written the universe. Measure what is measurable and make measurable what is not so. It vexes me when they would constrain science by the authority of the scriptures, and yet do not consider themselves bound to answer reason and experiment. By denying scientific principles, one may maintain any paradox. Vision, I say, is related to light itself, but of this sensation and the things pertaining to it, I pretend to understand but little, and since even a long time would not suffice to explain that trifle, or even to hint at an explanation, I pass over this in silence. In the sciences, the authority of thousands of opinions is not worth as much as one tiny spark of reason in an individual man. Science proceeds more by what it has learned to ignore than what it takes into account. I think that in the discussion of natural problems we ought to begin not with the scriptures, but with experiments and demonstrations. To command their professors of astronomy to refute their own observations is to command them not to see what they do see and not to understand what they do understand. The Bible shows the way to go to heaven, not the way the heavens go. Spots are on the surface of the solar body where they are produced and also dissolved, some in shorter and others in longer periods. They are carried around the sun, an important occurrence in itself. I therefore concluded, and decided unhesitatingly, that there are 3 stars in the heavens moving about Jupiter, as Venus and Mercury about the Sun, which at length was established as clear as daylight by numerous other observations, referring to his pioneering telescope observations. In questions of science, the authority of 1,000 is not worth the humble reasoning of a single individual. The surface of the moon is not smooth, uniform, and precisely spherical as a great number of philosophers believe it to be, but is uneven, rough, and full of cavities and prominences, being not unlike the face of the earth, relieved by chains of mountains and deep valleys. In my studies of astronomy and philosophy, I hold this opinion about the universe, that the sun remains fixed in the center of the circle of heavenly bodies, without changing its place, and the earth, turning upon itself, moves around the sun. The Milky Way is nothing else but a mass of innumerable stars planted together in clusters. It is a beautiful and delightful sight to behold the body of the moon. Infinities and indivisibles transcend our finite understanding, the former on account of their magnitude, the latter because of their smallness. Imagine what they are when combined. I've loved the stars too fondly to be fearful of the night. Philosophy is written in that great book whichever lies before our eyes, I mean the universe, but we cannot understand it if we do not first learn the language and grasp the symbols in which it is written. If you could see the earth illuminated when you were in a place as dark as night, it would look to you more splendid than the moon. Nature is relentless and unchangeable, and it is indifferent as to whether its hidden reasons and actions are understandable to man or not. I have never met a man so ignorant that I couldn't learn something from him. The sun, with all those planets revolving around it and dependent on it, can still ripen a bunch of grapes as if it had nothing else in the universe to do. Where the senses fail us, reason must step in. It is surely harmful to souls to make it a heresy to believe what is proved. Nature does not act by means of many things when it can do so by means of a few. Nothing occurs contrary to nature except the impossible, and that never occurs. See now the power of truth. The same experiment which at first glance seemed to show one thing, when more carefully examined, assures us of the contrary. Being beautiful is not in the way you dress nor on the pigments you put in your face. Being beautiful is being simple. In time you may discover everything that can be discovered, and still your progress will only be progress away from humanity. They seem to forget that the increase of known truths stimulates the investigation, establishment, and growth of the arts, not their domination or destruction. We cannot teach people anything, we can only help them discover it within themselves. With regard to matters requiring thought, the less people know and understand about them, the more positively they attempt to argue concerning them. All truths are easy to understand once they are discovered. The point is to discover them. To know and understand a multitude of things renders men cautious in passing judgment upon anything new. I do not feel obliged to believe that the same God who has endowed us with sense, reason, and intellect has intended us to forego their use. There are those who reason well, but they are greatly outnumbered by those who reason badly. Facts which at first seem improbable will, even on scant explanation, drop the cloak which has hidden them and stand forth in naked and simple beauty. They know that it is human nature to take up causes whereby a man may oppress his neighbor, no matter how unjustly.